Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Red Zone Radio Sports here on WQBQ 1410, sponsored by Bill Bryan Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. I'm Greg Malzuk, and along with your host, Bob Wiltman. How are you this morning?
Greg, I'm doing just fine, and I want to let everybody know again, we always entertain call-ins. The call-in number here is 352-315-1410. That's 352-315-1410. So I'm want to sometimes come out and say things that aren't outrageous but aren't just accurate. So you can always call in and say you're wrong. I know you're wrong. And I won't have a leg to stand on. Doesn't mean I'll be happy about it, but we do welcome your calls.
That's right.
So you're used to that, Greg. I've said a lot of things to you that were inaccurate over the years. And you used to let me get away with them. Not anymore.
I thought you were going to tell me you correct me often, which is true.
Well, that's being inaccurate goes two ways. You can be inaccurate, or you can inaccurately correct somebody when they're not wrong.
While I'm thinking about it, we were talking. You played trivia the other night, and the final question was a sports-related question. So why don't you ask that question?
I took the pipe. The question was who. And this, if we got this one right, this would have skyrocketed us to the top of the board. Instead, we finished out of the money. But the question was simply, in the career of the NCAA, who was the all-time points leader in the NCAA?
Right.
And I won't. I'll see if anybody was at the trivia contest last night. But the fact of the matter is, we'll reveal the answer. But I was wrong when I took my guess. I remember that.
Well, and if you know the answer and you call in, you'll win a you win a Laurel and Hardy handshake.
That's right. You'll get some decals. We got stickers here. We got something we can give away. We'll give away something. But let's go right to the NCAA.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I want to interrupt you one more
time. I like
it.
I like it.
There is a St. Patrick's Day party today over at Grillers Club, which is located at 811 South Central Avenue in Donna Vista, Florida. And it goes from 11 to 3. There's face painting and a live band and free food, free lunch from 11 to 3.
Can't beat that. Right. Holy mackerel.
And James will be out there.
Is James going to be out there? What's he going to be doing out there? Shaking hands, kissing babies.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay.
He said he'll call in and give us an update on what's going on.
We'll look forward to that.
Right.
But that sounds like a great way to spend it's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
The day after St. Patrick's Day, but you can understand why they'd save it for a weekend. Why not? Right. So good. That's fantastic. News we can use. And that starts at 11, you said?
Yes, from 11 to 3.
11 to 3. So make your plans. And tell me one more time, where is it?
It is at the Grillers Club.
Grillers?
Which is 811 South Central Avenue in Donna Vista, Florida.
In Donna Vista. Okay. Super. Well, that sounds like that should be a lot of fun. So after you've filled up with your sports information that we're going to give you, you can go and fill up on some food. Sounds like a great time. Now, let's take a shot at the NCAA tournament, which is something that I look forward to every year. And this one hasn't disappointed. Haven't been any major or ridiculous upsets, but they've been close ones.
Right.
And I guess the team that everybody's looking at now after they absolutely destroyed, and I'm trying to see who they destroyed, the number 6 seed Creighton, is the University of Rhode Island Rams. They were 11th seed, and they absolutely kicked the tar out of the Creighton. I think it's the Creighton Terriers. And that was an upset. That was 11 beating the 6. And, of course, I thought the travesty of the whole thing, we're not going to talk about travesties in the sense that somebody's always going to get gypped when you seed.
Right.
But Wichita State being a 10th seed, I'm sure the Dayton Flyers, when they got the 7th seed, I thought, hot dog, we're going to get a team that we can beat. They ended up getting Wichita State, and they gave them a good game, but Wichita State's very strong and very good. And so now they have moved on, so they, in essence, become the 7th seed. So those are the teams. I don't know if you've been watching any of the games, Greg, but excuse me.
I've watched a few of them.
Well, what's your take on who's looking good going into the next rounds?
I haven't watched enough.
Haven't watched enough of it. Well, the games are going to be very, very exciting. I think we got West Virginia Notre Dame. That's going to be a really good game. I think that that looks like a 92-90 type of battle.
Right.
And so that's going to be a great game coming up. Let me just refresh myself real quick. Here we go. We can look at some of the other games coming up. You've got Notre Dame, West Virginia. You've got Wisconsin, Villanova, another very good game. Northwestern at Gonzaga, and I told you, I said, I believe it or not, I like Northwestern in that game. Like I said, I've been wrong many times, but I just think Northwestern has the spark and the desire, and I think they're deep enough that they can, for once, that they can give Gonzaga a real battle. I think that'll be a real good game. Xavier and Florida State's another one where Xavier was an 11th seed, and they beat the 6th seed, so they're moving on to Florida State, and I like Xavier in that one. And I'm not hoping, I'm not dumping on our Tallahassee fans. I just think Xavier is going to move on in that game. Middle Tennessee at Butler. I think the Dreams get in for Middle Tennessee. St. Mary's doesn't have a prayer against Arizona. Sorry, St. Mary's. Virginia versus Florida should be a very, very interesting game of local import, and I think that I think the Gators can hold on that one. I think they're going to win.
Right.
Iowa State, Purdue. I like Purdue, believe it or not, and well, that's the lineup today, and I just think that they're going to be some great games. So that going on, of course, and I wanted we've been talking about this off the air, and let's talk a little bit about the World Baseball Classic.
Well,
are you going to sidetrack me again?
Yes.
Good. I like it.
Yeah. I mean, not that this is really important, but I just find it a little funny.
Well,
and the odds of picking a perfect bracket, 1 in 9.2 quintillion.
Really?
Yes.
That difficult?
Yeah. And I thought quintillion was like a made-up schoolyard.
No, that's an actual number. Yeah.
Apparently it is. It's a one with 18 zeros after it.
Does anybody still have their bracket intact?
I don't know.
I would say it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
But I would think when there's no upsets, I think you could pull it off.
Well, I guess it's the one that you pick.
Yeah.
So like if you just went straight with, the numbers, like number 1 beating number 8 or whatever.
Yeah.
You'd already be out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The only way that the odds, if this is possible, can be not in your favor, but not so ridiculously high as if everybody. What are the odds of? I guess what I'm saying is, what are the odds of every favored team winning every game?
Yeah.
In the tournament.
That I don't know, but I will tell you this: Warren Buffett offered his employees $1 million for their bracket for a first. If you got the first round correct, he'd give you $1 million.
Warren Buffett?
Yeah.
$1 million for just the first round?
Right. And you know what the odds of picking the first round is?
1 in 300,000.
1 in 128 billion.
What?
Yep.
How is that possible?
I guess
you can't
I'm not
guess.
A math nerd.
You can't guess 32 games, or obviously it's more with the feed-ins.
I think it's 67 games.
Well, there's
there's four.
But it's 32. What I'm saying is there's 64 teams.
Oh, right.
So you got 32 games,
Right.
but then you got feed-ins of 4 games. So
Right.
there's 36. You telling me that you can get $1 million if you go 36 for 36?
Yep.
And it's 128 million
billion with a B.
That doesn't. It boggles my mind.
Yeah.
If nobody gets upset, I guess that's. Well, what do I know? That does surprise me.
Yep.
But let's put it this way: I don't have a feeling Warren. It didn't cost Warren any money.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think he would. I think we'd be hearing about it. But isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Amazing that the odds would be that high.
Right.
Good grief. But like I said, the basketball being what it is, it's entertaining. I'm not trying to dissuade the people from watching the games, but sometimes the 1 through 16 games, once the 16th seed gets down 8 or 10 points, you might as well turn it off.
Right.
But that doesn't mean, like I said, we had some great games. The Princeton Notre Dame game was exceptional, and I guess everybody's been talking about it, so I'm going to talk about it. Is the the guy from, let's see, what was it? I got to get the I can't even think of the teams involved now, but it was Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt lost their opening game to, was it Wisconsin? I can't remember but that was the one where the guy. And excuse me for being so clueless. I cannot remember who Vanderbilt played, but they lost by 2 points because they were up by 1 point with 15 seconds left, and their guy on their team intentionally fouled somebody on the other team intentionally. And again, I think we can teach fundamentals, and we can teach good defense. We can teach shooting skills. We can teach blocking out. We can teach all of the skills, left-handed, right-handed dribbling. We can't teach scorekeeping. If you can't tell when you look at the clock that you are up by 1 or you're down, I mean that's twice now. I think that's happened this year in basketball, where a guy I thought we were behind. Oy vey. I mean, I feel, and nobody's going to lambast the guy. And obviously, the guy feels bad, but that's about as bad as it gets. I mean, if you can't keep track, and he was one, and he was good. He was scoring all the points.
Right.
He was scoring all the baskets. You think he would have known that he made a basket to put them up by 1 point? But he said, I think his excuse was he saw the coach signaling him to pick up some guy, and he misinterpreted it as go foul him.
Right.
That's a big misinterpretation of a coaching direction there.
Yeah.
So that being said. That's hopefully that'll we put that behind the guy, and he goes on to a lucrative pro career where he can stand up during the national anthem.
I wonder what the
sit down or whatever you want to do.
I wonder what the odds are of a college player making the pros.
I have no idea. It's got to be what?
It's got to be tremendous.
Well, especially now with the international flavor to all the teams. I mean, now they're getting 7'4" guys from the Netherlands or Uganda or wherever they find them.
Yeah, and
so they all throw them in. Although I did see a really nice article that Milos, what was his name, Darko Milicic, who was the number 1 pick in the draft. I'm going to say maybe 9 years ago, from Serbia. Who he's now a farmer back in Serbia, and he's very happy. He couldn't be more content. He took his $6 million signing bonus and went back home and growing some crops. So good for him.
Right.
He really, I don't know who thought he was worth the number 1 pick, but I watched him play a few times. He had trouble dunking, and he was 7'3" or something. I mean, it's so, so
yeah.
I guess it's all based on potential. I wonder if that guy, that general manager, kept his job. I doubt it, but you never know. But now let me segue back. I'll tell you what. We'll finish up on this segment before we get into the World Baseball Classic. But I want to talk about that. Here's some interesting news that don't tell me we don't talk NASCAR.
Okay.
Joey Logano.
Right.
He just claimed the Phoenix pole.
Nice.
So that's fantastic. And he's had a rough week. I mean, last time I looked, people are jumping out of cars and squaring off with Joey, and they're smacking each other. So I'm glad to see him get the pole. And, he won with a top speed of 137.3. That doesn't seem that fast. That's at the Phoenix International Raceway. Now, maybe it gets so hot there. I don't know. Doesn't that seem fairly slow to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've driven that on 441 here a couple times and got tickets, but Joey pulled it off in Phoenix. He got no ticket, and he is.
Aren't they usually up around 200 miles an hour?
Yes, that's I'm amazed. Let's see.
We are reading the Daily Sun. It might be a misprint.
It might be a misprint. It is the Daily Sun, and I'm not saying, hey, that was Greg Malinzuk taking a cheap shot at you.
That's right.
If I might, but. No, so for all our naysayers that say you don't cover NASCAR, there. Yeah.
Hey, what's funny is I went to a NASCAR race and a hockky game broke out.
Oh, but it's never gets old, does it, folks?
Right.
That's right. Well, there's we've revamped our brakes, and now we're going into on the 20s. So we are ready to rock out, and thank Mr. Bryan for taking such good care of us. Isn't that right, Greg?
That is absolutely right. And you're listening to Red Zone Radio here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. And as Bob alluded to, we are sponsored by Bill Bryan Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. They're located at 3401 U.S. Highway 441 in Fruitland Park. And their phone number is 352-787-2223. And we will be right back after these messages talking more sports. And actually other stuff too. We might even delve into some politics. We are back with Red Zone Radio Sports here in WQBQ 1410. Our call-in line is 352-315-1410.
Well, let me jump right in while we were talking about the NCAA men's.
Right.
We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the NCAA women's. And the women's tournament seems to be going on as it usually does, year in, year out. The routes tend to be a little greater than with the men's. So you've got a lot of first seeds and second seeds beating 15th seeds 112-40. And that's not that's really not much different than beating them 95-55.
Right.
But that's where it's going with the women's. But again, I don't know. I guess the interest is there in the sense that, hey, our team has made it. But just if Connecticut wants to, I think they can beat anybody there by 35, 40 points.
Right.
And I don't know if I got to be honest. I don't know if it's because they have better players. Well, obviously they have deeper, better players.
Right.
But are they that better coached? I can't make the distinction watching the women's teams play.
Yeah.
The men's teams, I can evaluate the talent a little better. I think I know who's good, who can do this, who can. The women's, I'm really not, and it's not because they don't stick out. It's just that I'm not able to analyze what they can and can't do. But every time I watch Connecticut play, quote unquote, a good team, they beat them by 45 points. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, now they're playing the seed. They're playing Baylor. They're in for it, and then 87-64 or something. And I think, well, so I can't really tell. Oh, one thing I wanted to bring up. I think this is a fascinating tidbit of information on women's basketball. I'm from Western Pennsylvania, and the land of Robert Morris. Robert Morris is a fairly small. It's a fairly good hockey school, and the women and men's have made the NCAAs on a couple of occasions. One of the things I wanted to bring out is Robert Morris got beat in the first round of the NCAA women's tournament. Let me see who beat them. Notre Dame. Notre Dame beat Robert Morris. Let's see, 79-49. Not bad. So that was Robert Morris's smallest margin of defeat in 5 trips to the NCAA. They have been beaten by 50 points or more in the first round 3 times. So I think hats off to Robert Morris for staying in the ballpark. I think the ladies should be proud of themselves. Are they going to beat Notre Dame? Absolutely not. But at least it sounds like they gave it some kind of an attempt, as opposed to Connecticut last year. That was a 101-49, and they've had Notre Dame in the past. It was 93-44.
Right.
So at least they kept it under 50 points. Go Colonials.
There you go.
Robert Morris, Colonial women's team. Not that they got beat, but I think that's fantastic. Obviously, they get in the tournament almost every year, so they're winning their conference. I think that's spectacular. But good to see them get in the first round again and at least give somebody a ball game. So I'm glad for him. I'm really happy for him.
Nice.
So
did the coach save his or her job by?
I don't think so. I think he or she, I'm guessing it's a she, is going to continue. But one of these days they're going to, the breaks will fall their way and they will become resurgent. But I said the women's, as I watch the women play, I can't tell, and maybe you have an opinion. Is Connecticut just that much more talented? Are they better coached? Was it a combination of both? I can't tell.
Probably a combination of both. But when you have success, it attracts players, and you have your choice of of players really that other teams don't get.
Well, we alluded to that when we were on the way in the car over here. I would think that would work for you and against you.
Yeah.
I mean, how do I get the top girl player from, or the women's player from, say, the state of Illinois to come play for me and not start?
Right.
She might be an eighth. If I'm a top woman basketball player, do I want to play on the storied Connecticut team and be like a sub?
Right.
Or do I want to play and be a doggone star
Right.
for somebody who's not? I can't analyze it other than it's a real juggernaut that looks like there's no ending at any time soon. So eventually you'd think everything's cyclical and it'll start to eventually Connecticut will lose ball games again.
They're in a big up cycle, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and I don't root against them because, like I said, I like dynasties.
Yeah.
I like people that stay on top a long time and do it legitimately. I don't think that they're cheating or doing anything wrong with their recruiting. They're just able to go get players that want to play for the vaunted Connecticut Huskies women's team,
Right.
and they don't care if they're on the bench. They don't, and that's the key. I would getting sidetracked for a little bit. I would think the tough part of recruiting is to get a person who is used to being the cat's pajamas, the top player in the state, the top player in wherever, and tell them, they may not be starting. We'll get you in. You're going to get a lot of minutes.
Right.
But you have to decide whether you want to be a big fish in a small pond, small fish in a big pond. And I don't know. I would think there would be more players these days with the quote-unquote me attitude that would want to be the star.
Right.
And but Connecticut has somehow survived that.
Yeah.
So they got people 9, 10 deep in their bench that's the top player in the state of Maryland and the top. And I think, wow, that's amazing. They get people that are willing to. And I guess the men's teams do it too, up to a point.
Sure.
But because the women's product is not quite as, it's a little less diluted. I mean, I would think that I'm a little more diluted. It's probably, well, I like I said, I'm just rambling. I just can't understand, and I'm mad that I can't understand why Connecticut continues to be the top team in the country every year. And I'm not bored with it. I just can't figure it out, so I get mad.
When you're talking about women's basketball, brings up the point that's kind of going on Twitter right now with some of these female broadcasters saying that women's professional sports should be paid the same as men's professional sports.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's probably going to happen somewhere.
No, it can't happen.
I don't see how it can.
It can't.
But it's somebody, whoever writes the checks is eventually going to say, "No, wait a minute, who's making me money and who isn't?"
Well, I mean that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not interested in. I guarantee you, if the girls were making more money than the men, and the shoe was on the other foot, it wouldn't change anyhow.
No.
Nobody would find it's not inequity. It's business.
Right.
And
and people forget it's entertainment, and if nobody's watching a certain brand of entertainment, you don't go, hey, well, this other branch of entertainment's doing really well. We should have everything even. Because another one, Hollywood. There's a huge disparity between men and women what they get paid.
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't know if it's men and women as far as individual stars.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that for a while there, it didn't matter what the movie is. J-Lo was going to get paid some ridiculous amount because everybody wanted to see J-Lo, and I'm still not knocking her, but I'm not sure why. I watched a couple J-Lo movies and I said, that's it? Okay.
Speaking of trivia, though, and women being paid, who was the biggest box office draw for 4 straight years in the 1930s?
For what?
Movies.
Women? You mean women actress?
Well, any actor, actress.
I would think it would be in the 30s,
Yep.
Katharine Hepburn.
Nope.
No, not
Shirley Temple.
Shirley Temple, that's exactly right. That makes all the sense in the
Yeah.
world. Because they would just line her up and they'd crank out movies.
And it just shows you that it's people were flocking to her movies. I mean, she was a little kid.
Yeah.
Yet she was out doing Clark Gable and, you just name all those other.
She's a cute girl as opposed to
Right.
the
those
World Wars and Depression.
And those movies were making tons of money, and she had to be paid accordingly. And
well, that makes all the sense in the world, too. Like I said, that was right after the Depression.
that was during the Depression.
Well, the talkies. Temple came out with talkies.
Yeah, in 1930.
31, yeah.
That's
So
when the Depression
the Depression, they were just getting quote unquote out of it, but they still weren't. The Depression line. I'm talking about the 29, the stock market crash and everybody.
Well, the Depression started in 1930s.
Yeah, you're right. It started because of that.
Yeah.
You're definitely right. But so you don't have to pay Shirley Temple that much. I'm sure they paid her enough, but
quite a bit of money.
yeah. But she was able to make people feel good.
Yeah.
After, with all the stuff they're going through in their lives. Go see a little girl. I remember watching Captain January and all the other, the little,
Right.
Shirley Temple movies, and then she went. Remember, she got a couple good roles in the 40s when she grew up, and then she went into politics.
Yeah.
How about that? Shirley Temple Black.
Yeah.
So, that's an interesting thing you bring up. But no, I'm just saying, and it's not a gender thing. It's
Right.
whoever can make me money
Right.
makes me money.
Yep.
And so we can analyze to a blue in the face. Is the men's product faster and bigger? Yeah. But it's maybe not as attractive. I don't know how you want to look at it. Like I said, in terms of skills, I don't think there's a comparison. Maybe someday there will be, but right now there isn't. So what are you going to do?
Right.
But for anybody decrying that, anybody that says there should be an equal pay for that,
Right.
obviously they're not paying the check, writing the checks.
Right.
Yeah, so that's easy. That's easy for me to tell somebody who's writing the checks what they should do with their pay, or their budget. But that's and now you've got me on a tangent for that. But this is always kind of galls me too. But not only is it a gender thing, but it's these sport. I mean, they're trying to equate sports. And this is what we talk about with soccer.
Yeah.
Hey, I love soccer. It's in the United States. I don't love it. I'm lying. I watch soccer, and I appreciate that we're trying to be global.
Yeah.
But with all of the sports and all of the other options people have, now, is it the perfect sport for somebody who you can, if your kid wants to participate in a sport and they don't have a especially great handed down throwing arm or a great, or they're not the fastest runner in the world, but they want to participate in a sport, what makes more sense than saying go play soccer? Because you can develop, you learn to kick the ball, has nothing to do with physical strength in terms of what you can carry or, how fast you can run. Now, of course, it does as you get to higher levels.
Right.
But I'm glad to see that. I think it's finally stopped the force feeding of soccer into the United States. I'm sure there's still leagues out there.
Yeah, they're still trying. You look at ESPN, who really pushes soccer. They push soccer on their website. They push soccer on their, on their website. And I just
the
don't,
game does not sell itself.
No.
So
what really cracks me up is soccer radio broadcasts.
Go. Yeah.
Like,
Well, you're right. But I mean, that's interesting to try to
right.
describe. I mean, some stuff is tough on radio, but that might be right up there with the
Right.
as bad as it's tough to, Now he's kicking it all the way down the field again. Now he's going to clear it. Now he's going to do.
Right.
I don't know, but and I'm not here to dump on soccer, like I said.
And we're probably going to have a guest soccer next week.
And down here, I mean, especially I'm from the north where nobody seems to care.
No.
But by the same token, I know Orlando City's got a pro team.
Yeah.
And anything that's not, that has an infusion of European or Mexican, there's guys that really have an interest in soccer.
Yeah.
It's not here.
Right.
So if you can grow it, you can grow it. But I don't see it happening. Maybe it is. You tell me.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
I watch the World Cup. I like it. only because I know that these are the best players on quote-unquote the best teams. Now, when I think of that, I think, wow, this is okay. I can barely take this.
Right.
But these are the best players in the world.
Right.
I'm probably not going to enjoy it very much if you back it off.
And the thing that bugs me about soccer is the politics behind it. Like,
well, yeah.
You know, they push it because it's supposed to be like safer for kids.
No, it's not safer.
And you know, it usually ends in a tie, so everyone's happy. You know, it's just
the whole safer thing. And again, this sounds like this isn't a dump on soccer. I think soccer's got a place. I'm just talking about to try to stuff it down as an equal sport in terms of how much money and revenue it's going to generate. Yeah. It's just silly.
And let me just say this: any sport that you can get your kid into is great.
Yes.
I mean,
I can't.
Because sports teaches such.
My kids both played it. Oh my gosh! Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Be gracious winners. And,
yes.
And you know, don't be overly sad when you lose.
Yeah.
You know,
the sun comes up tomorrow,
yeah,
and
right.
That's exactly right.
You know,
but getting back to your point about safety, I mean, can you think of a sport where somebody kicks a ball up in the air 40 yards? And 3 people run at it as fast as they can, looking only at the ball, not at each other.
Right.
And they all collide as they go to try to hit it with their head. What do you think might happen?
Yeah.
With 3 people leading with their heads.
Right.
Going, it's just, you know, it's going to be addressed one of these days.
Yeah, and
it really is.
And they're starting, you know, because obviously high school football or youth football, however you want to term it, it's under a big attack from, you know, those I'll just say left wing politicians and the Trial Lawyers Association, whatever they call themselves now. You know, and it's sad because now they're finding out that even concussions in soccer, because they head the ball quite a bit, is probably worse than football.
I would bet that it would have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, you can play football and not get hit in the head.
Right.
You can't play soccer. I mean, if you want to play soccer, that's how you got to stop the ball when
right.
it's in the air. I mean,
yep.
But like I said, it's there tends to be a holier than thou approach to the way it's
right.
you know, addressed and marketed, and you know, and there's no union of old soccer players in the United States that can get together and say, okay, we're going to get a big payback for all the concussions we suffered. And I always like the fact, unbeknownst to us, like football, like that nobody knew that when they were playing football, there was a chance they could get hit in the head. I mean, why do you wear a helmet if it's safe?
Right.
You wear a helmet because your head is exposed to significant contact.
Right.
So,
and that's what they're actually talking about in youth soccer, is requiring helmets.
Why not?
Yeah.
Or face guard, at least face guards. You're going to lose your nose, your teeth, and everything else.
Right.
Somebody's going to kick a ball right in your mouth.
Right.
But that's for our soccer show,
that's right.
which will be coming up.
Which will be in the third hour. You're listening to Red Zone Radio here on WQBQ, sponsored by Bill Bryan Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. Their phone number is 352-787-2223. We'll be back right after these messages. And we are back with Red Zone Radio here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. Our call-in line is 352-315-1410, and we're talking sports.
Talking sports, and one of the things I wanted to talk about, I figure if it's okay with you, Greg, I'm going to table the baseball till the second hour of the program.
Okay.
And I wanted to talk a little bit about Arnie Palmer's Bay Hill Classic.
Yeah.
Top players in golf showed up, with the exception of a couple of us always, but no matter what the tournament, one or two of the big names always misses. But this is especially significant because this is the first Bay Hill played without Arnie Palmer being alive. Arnie passed, I guess, 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah.
And what's happening now is a lot of it's a nostalgic feel to it. A lot of people coming and honoring him. I like the way the TV is handling the production, because they're showing a lot of old Arnie stuff and a lot of guys that played with him, that people that played with him, and guys that looked up to him, and he was their idol. And I find it fascinating that they come down to Orlando, play in this Bay Hill. The golf course is spectacular. The weather has been very, very good, and you've got some names on the leaderboard that, frankly, you don't see that much of. Although they're top players. But Matthew Fitzpatrick's 21 years old.
Right.
He's 8 under. Emiliano Grillo is 23 years old. I mean, can we safely assume that there is no age limit? I mean, you're going to see guys 17, 18 years old just ripping the heck out of a golf ball, and they're going to be playing in these tournaments. People are growing up so fast. It's there's nothing for these kids to be nervous about. They just come in and just grip it and rip it, so to speak. And I think it's while I think it's good for the game, I wish some of them had more personality, but I don't know if that's even something you need now. You just need because you can do tweets, you can do the whole 9 yard. But all you got to do is you don't even have to shake hands. All you have to do is show up, win a tournament, and tweet how happy you are. For so like I said, this is an international flavored top 10. And I would bet that there's not a top 20 golfer in the top 10. And so they're going to be scrambling trying to promote things. But the thing is, you can always go back to promoting Palmer, which is really, really good about the tournament.
Right.
So,
they need players with personality.
I wish they had some more. Some of the guys, I don't like it's not that I don't like it. But like I said, you have a lot of them. You have the Tiger Woods and the Dustin Johnsons, and I'm not knocking Dustin Johnson, but he went through the same type of situation where they have to leave the tour for a year and a half,
right,
and try to get their head on straight, whether it's health issues, whether it's social issues, whatever it is. So I don't get caught up in that too much. I just wish that they do have some. This Jason Day, I think, is a real sharp cookie and a nice kid, and I'd like to see him. He was at number one for a while there. I don't know if he's comfortable being the face of golf, but I wish he was, because I would like to see more people like him. He's congenial. He's nice. He's fun.
Right.
He's not doesn't make excuses. He doesn't swear on the live mics, so I mean, I'm sure he has his foibles, but he comes off as just a real straight shooter, and for everybody, every time Dustin Johnson wins now, and it's obvious he's just gifted. He's got as much, if not more, skill in terms of hitting a golf ball than anybody's ever played. And in the fact that he's not exactly a yuck it up or social, he's not, sides slapping back sides and laughing and yucking it up. But everybody, we always have to talk about his recovery, and I think that's I guess it's good up to a point. But geez, I hope if he has a relapse that somebody doesn't, somebody actually takes it seriously now. I don't think anybody's taking Tiger Woods. I think Tiger Woods is going through all his stuff. I don't think he's learning much from it.
No. Yeah. Well, the thing, I always have this argument with people with Tiger Woods, and it's nothing. I mean, I don't really like Tiger Woods anymore, mainly because of his personal behavior.
Yeah.
But, the problem with Tiger Woods is he's 41 years old. And you have these, you're talking about these 21, 22, 23-year-olds. And then you have the crop that came in a couple of years ago, like Jordan Spieth and others. They're 23, 24. I just find that those guys are so good, and there's so many of them. I don't think you're going to see a 41-year-old guy who has some back issues ever win again.
No, you're probably right. You're probably right.
And I don't say that in the sense of, that I hold Tiger Woods with, contempt or anything. I'm just kind of stating a fact because you can't deny that Tiger Woods was a tremendous benefit to the game of golf.
But he imploded.
Yeah,
he really did.
Right, and but having said that, I just don't think he's going to be able to compete, anymore. Really, I mean.
Well, all I'm saying is, don't come back until you're ready.
But even so, if he comes back perfect health, boy, there's a big crop of.
I'm not
guys
saying.
that
I'm just saying I don't want it to be. He plays. He shoots bad.
Right.
He has to drop out with a bad knee or a bad back. Don't come back until you can play 4 rounds of golf, and try to compete.
Because
if you never win again, you never win
right,
again.
Because I'll even say this about Phil Mickelson. Another guy. I don't know. He's in his 40s, right?
Mid 40s, 46.
And, and as good as he is, he's really not. He's not breaking in the top 10 much lately.
No, people are rooting for him.
Oh, sure. But I mean,
he's got some personal issues.
Yeah,
he's a inveterate gambler. He's got a lot. He likes to gamble.
Yeah, but I know he has some form of arthritis. I guess.
Yes, he does. But, he has pain.
Yeah. But having said that, I'm just saying. My point is, I don't think you're going to see many of these 40-year-olds for the time being doing really, really well because of the competition.
Well, I think you're right. And what Tiger and Phil brought to the game was unique, and now maybe thanks to them, but every young guy that plays now plays. There is no holding back or playing safe. Now, and Phil would win his tournaments every once in a while. He'd blow one because he wouldn't play it. He'd grip it and rip it, and wherever it went. Now everybody's doing that. Everybody's doing that.
Right.
You stand there and go, I don't know what he's going to do. What he's going to do is he's going to go for the green. These guys all shoot for the flag.
Right.
And if they don't, they'll find a way to make their par or bogey if they miss the green. I mean, that's how they do it. So if that's Tiger and Phil's legacy to the young guys, then that's a good one.
Yeah.
But that's how they all play now. They just come in, and some of these guys are tiny.
Yeah.
This Adam what's his name? Hadwin that won last week, 5'7", 145 pounds. I mean, they hit the ball ridiculous. It's farther than anybody's ever. I mean, the combination of the swing, training, and technology, they got it all down. But the attitude they have when they come out, they're not afraid of anything. They don't really care.
Which brings up another point about golf at one point was pretty good at having equipment that wasn't the equipment had standards that wasn't making the golf courses obsolete. Apparently they've gone away from that.
Well, they have, and it's like I said, there's only a couple things you can do. You can take back the technology, or you can try to toughen up the golf courses and shrink the fairways and grow the roughs and do whatever you can do. But the fact of the matter is that there's just, I really enjoy watching the young guys play because they are fearless. And I mean to a man. There's nobody out there that looks like he's nervous. They are out there and they're ready to mix it up and take their shot and take a run at it. And as long as you stay fairly healthy, and like I said, that's been an issue for Phil. It's been an issue for Tiger Woods.
Right.
Fred Couples probably could have been the greatest golfer in golf history, but his back, he'd have to sit out a year or two, and then he'd come back and win a couple tournaments, and he'd get hurt again.
Right.
His back just absolutely killed him. And the health thing's a problem, and it doesn't hurt when you've got other things, on your plate that are taken away from your golf game.
Right.
But here's what I think of Tiger Woods: come on back and play when you're healthy, and if you can do it, God bless you.
Right.
If you can't, then go broadcast. I mean, or wait for the senior tour or whatever.
Yeah. Well, we might have a caller here.
We might.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I know. So I'm gonna give it a shot anyway.
All right, go ahead.
Yep.
All right.
I guess he hung up.
That's all right. He got sick of my act. Okay, that's all right. You're not the first. You're not the first. No, I guess I won't be bitter. But just wanted to touch. Like I said, this is a big deal, and the Bay Hill thing. I really like the way they're doing it this year. Really heartbreaking to see that Palmer's his grandson or his grandson-in-law Sam Saunders didn't make the cut by one shot. That would have been nice. One of these days he'll hit it big and he'll win one, and he'll get his just desserts. Right now he's kind of living in Arnie's shadow, even though he's Arnie's guy by marriage. I mean, he's his son-in-law by marriage. I think his son-in-law or his grandson. I think probably has to be his grandson. Arnie be 90. Yeah, has to be his grandson. But I just think that. And if you don't mind, I'll segue real quick and talk about Araya Jatunagarn.
There you go.
She's at the top of the board on the ladies. But now, who do you think? What's the headlines about? About Michelle Wee, who's behind by one, and nobody cares about Araya Jatunagarn. And I think I know why. It has something to do with pronouncing her name. Right. I think, but like I said, Michelle Wee is. Back, and she must be striking the ball well, because that is the worst, goofiest putting stroke I've seen in a professional golfer in my life. To watch her, it looks like she's playing miniature golf. Somebody cut her putter in half. She has to bend like way down and bend over it, so her nose is almost touching the ground. I think this is the goofiest thing I've ever seen. But she shot 65, 67, so good for Michelle Wee. But she still is second place to. You heard it here first. The name, women's golf for the next 10 years, Araya Jatunagarn.
I'm not even going to try to.
But no, I mean, good grief. What does this girl have to do to get some headlines? Araya, she's in first place, and she's not even getting the headlines. Oh, that's too bad. And she won 4 of the last 8 tournaments.
It's funny how the press just picks out a person and they just push that person regardless. But
then they act like this. Like the society is driving it. I don't think society is. I think the press has decided, oh, this person's attractive. This person, and I really like Michelle Wee. I told you I didn't want to like her because she was getting all these accolades and she hadn't won anything. Right. But then I heard her interviewed, and I thought she's more intelligent than 98% of the athletes that I hear interviewed. She's no chest beater, screamer. She's very, very courteous, with dignity. She plays.
Right.
No excuses when she plays bad. No chest beating when she plays good. She just goes out or plays well. She just goes out and competes. So, she's an attractive girl, and she's an American, so she's going to get lots and lots of publicity. But Jatunagarn is still getting short.
Can you believe we already have 1 hour in the books?
I believe it. And we haven't even talked baseball yet, and we're ready to talk baseball.
Yeah, we'll be talking some baseball and maybe even a little NFL. There's a little NFL action going on. Okay. Well, I'm ready to do that, so get us out of the first. Who knows, maybe even some hockey.
I would like that. Yeah. A big milestone was achieved last night.
Yeah.
So let's get back into it and get us out of the first hour, and we will jump into the second.
Okay, you're listening to Red Zone Radio here on WQBQ 1410, the voice of Lake County. We're sponsored by Bill Bryan Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, and we will be right back after these messages from our sponsors, including Bill Bryan.